Okay, so guys, this is just very, very important, so important that I'm recording it so I can share it with you later. This is very, very important. When I was at school, I was awful at writing, okay? So, if we look at this question, and you should recognise the question, this is from last week. So the question is, medical care and developments have resulted in greater life expectancy and people living longer. Okay, so the question is then, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? So when I was at school, what I would have probably done in this type of question was write a lot about the developments in medical care. And lots of you in your writing looked at this, you saw medical care and developments, and you wrote about the advantages and disadvantages of improvements in medicine. That is not the question. Okay, so I would say maybe 2/3 of you wrote about why medicine was a good thing. That's not the question. So the question is, what are the advantages of greater life expectancy and people living longer? One or two people, life expectancy, maybe that's a tricky term, but it's quite clear, people living longer. So the question is asking you for the advantages of people living longer, greater life expectancy. When I first came to the UAE, the average life expectancy, there were very few people older than 60. Now, most of you, your grandparents will all be living. People are living much longer. And the question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of that? Okay? Not the advantages, disadvantages of healthcare. Okay? So, here is my introduction. I'll make it nice and big. A lot of you, the organisation was very good. A lot of the grammar, the vocabulary, that was very good, but most of you didn't answer the question. So we want to look at this week so that when you do the exam next week, you'll write a much better answer. This will be my introduction. Nowadays, people are living longer as a result of improvements in medicine. So that's our topic sentence. Second sentence is, in this essay, I will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this increase in longevity. I will then explain why I believe that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So just for a couple of bullet points for suggestion, the advantages of people living longer are people live a longer and healthier, people live longer and healthier lives. I've made a grammar mistake there, I'll change it. People enjoy life more. Because people are healthier, they live longer, they enjoy life, they have a better quality of life. People live longer and can support their families. In the past, parents died when children were still very young. So for example, my grandfather, my dad's dad, died when he was 52. 52 is very young to die, okay? Years ago, people only lived until they were maybe 60, 65 was the average. A lot of people died a lot younger. Children didn't have anyone to look after them. Maybe they lived with aunts and uncles, grandparents, okay? Most of you, probably your grandparents are still around. You see them Fridays, they're quite healthy, okay? So this is a good thing. Another one is the knowledge that people have gained can be shared longer. So we can speak to our grandparents, we can speak to our parents, they can help us, they can give us advice, they can maybe make introductions, help us get jobs. So this experience is not lost. So these are 3 advantages, maybe you could think of something else. The disadvantages of people living longer is, there are a couple of big ones. Now, a couple of you that wrote good answers did actually say this, I thought it was quite good. People living longer lives can be very expensive for the state to look after people. Many governments provide state pensions and cannot afford to pay these long term. Okay? So when government pensions started, people only lived for 1 or 2 years. Now people are living for like 25 years. The government don't have the money to pay for this. Okay? Lots of European governments are struggling to pay this. Okay? Medical insurance can be very expensive for older people. Again, in Europe, many state healthcare systems struggle with the extra demand. Because people are living until 90 instead of like 68, it makes a huge difference. The healthcare systems cannot cope. There aren't enough doctors, there aren't enough nurses, there are long waiting rooms. Yeah? In the past, people are waiting for surgery, like knee operations, things like this that we can do now. It's very expensive, so it costs the government a lot of money. Some people think that if older people keep working longer, younger people do not get opportunities. So because people are not leaving their jobs, they're working longer, there are less opportunities for younger people. Yeah, some people think, I'm not sure about that, but that's what some people say. Okay, so nearly there. So my conclusion would be, I believe the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. If people live longer, they can support and take care of their children and families for longer. Older people can also share the knowledge and life experience that they have gained over their lives. Okay, so because I think the advantages are more, I would choose two of these in my conclusion. Okay. One or two of you did answer the question. You did write good answers. Most of you, your answers were well organised, but you didn't answer the question. You just talked about medicine and how good medicine was. Okay. Next week, or this week, we're going to be looking at problem solution essays, which will be in the exam next week. Okay, so you need to think about the question and answering the question. Okay, right, so we've recorded this. I'll share the video with you later. You can watch this again if you want to. Anyone that's missed can watch it as well.